How does language work in a text? Again, stylistics is a process of mediation between language and literature. So stylistics works in between language and literature. So as you can see here in the chart, so we have stylistics in the middle, and it connects the two disciplines here. We have linguistics and literary criticism. And on the other hand, for the subjects, we have here language and literature. So stylistics stands in between. To better understand stylistics, let's first review the different disciplines that involves it. So let's start from linguistics. So again, what is linguistics? So linguistics is the study of language, and such study has broadly speaking three aspects. So it focuses on the language form, like morphology, and language meaning like semantics, and language in context just like pragmatics. So there are different branches of linguistics, and each branch is talking particularly on specific field and specific language um, factors or aspects of language. So, as I've mentioned, linguistics is the scientific study of language and its structure that includes the study of morphology or the study of words, syntax, phonetics, and semantics. The specific branches of linguistics also include social linguistics, dialectology, psycholinguistics, computational linguistics, historical comparative linguistics, and applied linguistics. Now let's proceed to literary criticism. So what is literary criticism? Literary criticism is the evaluation, analysis, description, or interpretation of literary works. So when we read a particular text or a particular literature, so when we do or critique how it is made based on different kinds of analysis, so we call that literary criticism. So it is usually in the form of a critical essay, but in-depth book reviews can sometimes be considered literary criticism. And the criticism may examine a particular literary work or may look at an author's writings as a whole. So, as we know, there are different approaches to literary criticism. So, it depends on our purpose or depends, or our interpretation may depend on the particular factors that we are focusing in. So, that could be the history of the book, the history of the author, or any factors that could affect how the literature was made of. Now let's proceed to the subject matters that are also focused of stylistics. So first we have language. So what is language? It is the method of human communication that's either spoken or written, consisting of the use of words in a structured and conventional way. So language is basically our way of communication. So it is yeah, it could be spoken or written, and it is what we use to convey message to one another. And there are also studies that relates to language. That's the study of the way children learn language. So as we know, there are different studies on how students can easily, or how children can easily adapt language, whether it's their first language or a second language or a foreign language. And language is also called or considered as any nonverbal method of expression or communication. So language is not only limited to spoken or written words, but also some nonverbal methods that we use to convey our meaning. So that is through gestures and facial expressions. And synonyms, so words that are synonymous to language, we have speech, writing, communication, conversation, speaking, talking, talk, and discourse. And also language is the system of communication used by a particular community or country. So in order for each each member of the country or society can understand each other. We have this particular language that we are using, and we also have the international language or English as the lingua franca, in which we use in order to communicate with people in other parts of the world. And the last one, we have literature. So what is literature? Literature are writings in which expressions and form in connection with ideas of permanent and universal interest are characteristic or essential features as poetry, novels, history, biography, and essays. So it is our form of expressions, okay, in different ways or styles. So that has certain or particular characteristics or features. So example like novels or poetry. And the entire body, yeah, literature is also considered as the entire body of writings of a specific language, period, people, or etc. So example, we have the literature of England, the literature of Asia, Afro-Asian literature, and so on. And it's also considered as the writings dealing with a particular subject. So that's the profession of a writer or author. And it is a literary work or a production. And it's any kind of printed material as circulars or leaflets. So anything that is written or produced in a form of different um, literature or different productions. So that is considered literature. It can be books, magazines, leaflets, okay, and so on. So it deals or it talks about particular topics. Can be history, culture, biography, essays, or critical analysis or studies. So those are all considered as literature. So to review the definition of stylistics, again, we can say that stylistics is the application of concepts from linguistics and allied disciplines in the analysis and interpretation of samples of communication through language. So it is a combination of concepts or an application of concepts that we had from linguistics, from literary criticisms, okay, and those kinds of analysis in giving a beautiful interpretation or a different interpretation on a particular text or particular literature. And also, stylistics is the linguistic study of different styles. So there are various styles that authors or writers use when they express their messages through literature. So we will also, stylistics also deals with those styles. And it's a linguistic approach to the study of literary texts. So more on studying the beauty of a literature. So by identifying the different factors or by analyzing what's the deeper meaning of a particular literary text. Stylistics is also the study of literary discourse from a linguistic orientation. So just like in our way, the way we analyze language, so that is also the same thing when we do or when we analyze a discourse, a literary discourse. So we can say that linguistics has a great influence to the study of stylistics. So practical stylistics is the process of literary text analysis, which starts from a basic assumption that the previous interpretative procedures used in the reading of a literary text are linguistics procedures. So, yeah, so since we already know that stylistics and linguistics are greatly influenced by each other, so we have to firstly understand the concepts of linguistics before we can totally understand how stylistics really works. So in this case, in practical stylistics, so it is saying that the analysis of a literary text is based from how we analyze or yeah how we analyze the language. or language. So they are connected to each other. So linguistics and stylistics, and as well as literary criticism, they are greatly influenced by one another. All right, so that's it for this video. So I hope you understand the disciplines that are connected to stylistics. Thank you for watching.